one of Hollywood's most iconic and mysterious friendships, his bond with Gene Hackman. After decades of keeping things under wraps, Clint's revealing words will leave you speechless. What has he been hiding? From untold stories on set to the real reason they drifted apart, get ready for a revelation that might just shock you. First meeting on The Beguiled. Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman's paths first crossed in 1971 during the making of The Beguiled, a Southern Gothic drama set during the Civil War. This was the first time they would work together on screen, but the tension between them began long before the cameras even started rolling. Eastwood portrayed John McBurney, a Union soldier injured and taken in by a group of Southern women at a boarding school. Though their roles didn't share much screen time, Hackman had a smaller part as a soldier. Still, behind the scenes, things were already becoming complicated. Eastwood and Hackman were both well known for their strong wills and deeply held opinions about acting. Former TV cowboy Eastwood relied on his tough appearance and stoic attitude, believing that subtlety could communicate emotion more effectively than exaggerated performance. He preferred keeping things straightforward. Hackman, by contrast, was famous for bringing tremendous emotional intensity to every role. He loved exploring the psychology of his characters, layering each performance with complexity and nuance. Their contrasting acting methods naturally created friction. Eastwood, accustomed to doing things his own way, didn't always understand Hackman's more deliberate and analytical approach. Meanwhile, Hackman believed Eastwood's style was sometimes too restrained and underdeveloped. Despite their difficult beginning, Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman both fought relentlessly to climb the Hollywood ladder. Growing up in California, Eastwood moved frequently with his family. Interested in music during his teenage years, he eventually turned to acting. His breakthrough came with the television series Rawhide, where years of portraying the quiet, rugged cowboy Rowdy Yates shaped his signature acting style. Hackman came from a very different background. Born in San Bernardino, California, he grew up in a troubled household. Before pursuing acting, he worked numerous odd jobs, including as a clerk and messenger. After training at the famed Pasadena Playhouse, he gradually landed small film roles before achieving his breakthrough with The French Connection, which transformed him into a major Hollywood star almost overnight. Hackman quickly earned a reputation for portraying deeply layered, realistic characters. His gritty, emotionally authentic performances made him one of the industry's most respected actors. Eastwood, meanwhile, remained the quiet minimalist. He believed a great actor didn't need to oversell a performance. Characters like Dirty Harry became famous for their grim, emotionally restrained personalities. His philosophy was simple: keep it quiet, keep it cool, and let the action speak for itself. Hackman represented the opposite philosophy. He excelled at creating richly detailed human beings, constantly exploring the psychology behind every gesture, every line, and every emotional reaction. Rather than embracing silence, Hackman favored intensity, emotional honesty, and expressive performances. These opposing philosophies naturally affected their dynamic on set. Eastwood generally preferred following the script and allowing the visuals to tell the story. Hackman frequently wanted to dig deeper into motivation, adding additional emotional layers to every scene. Their different approaches occasionally produced disagreements throughout the filming of The Beguiled, making it difficult to establish complete creative harmony. Making The Beguiled wasn't simply about filming a movie. It also meant navigating the strong personalities of two determined actors. Eastwood was beginning to establish himself as a leading Hollywood star, while Hackman was still carving out his own place in the industry. Although their differing methods created occasional conflict, they also laid the foundation for one of Hollywood's most fascinating professional relationships. Despite their disagreements, both actors respected each other's abilities. Neither could deny the unique strengths the other brought to the screen. Working on The Beguiled ultimately gave both men the opportunity to grow, sharpen their craft, and learn from one another. But while their early encounters were defined by contrasting acting styles and occasional rivalry, their careers would soon head in dramatically different directions, handling fame and personal lives. As their careers skyrocketed, Eastwood and Hackman gradually pursued different ambitions. Eastwood's interests expanded beyond acting. During the late 1970s, he began directing and producing, starting with Play Misty for Me, before continuing with projects alongside the Dirty Harry series. This marked the beginning of his transformation from leading actor into respected filmmaker. Throughout the 1980s and beyond, Eastwood continued directing ambitious projects such as The Outlaw Josie Wales, Gran Torino, and Unforgiven. These films allowed him to explore increasingly complex themes while showcasing his growing abilities behind the camera. Eventually, he directed dozens of acclaimed films, winning Academy Awards for Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby. He was no longer simply the rugged cowboy or hard-boiled cop. He had become one of Hollywood's most celebrated directors. Hackman, meanwhile, remained focused primarily on acting. He continued delivering acclaimed performances in films like The Conversation and Hoosiers, earning further awards recognition while portraying an extraordinary range of characters, from cynical authority figures to deeply compassionate mentors. The two men also approached fame differently. Eastwood consistently guarded his privacy, avoiding Hollywood's celebrity culture and keeping his personal life largely out of public view. He preferred allowing his work to speak for itself. Hackman, while never embracing celebrity excess, was generally more outgoing and vocal. He appreciated public recognition but remained selective, consistently choosing roles that interested him artistically rather than simply pursuing larger paychecks. While Eastwood increasingly gained attention both as an actor and filmmaker, Hackman earned growing admiration for his remarkable ability to portray behind the scenes. Their differences remained evident. Unforgiven represented another major directing effort for Eastwood. Rather than creating a traditional Western, he envisioned a darker, more realistic exploration of violence and morality. Eastwood starred as retired outlaw William Money, while Hackman portrayed the corrupt sheriff Little Bill Daggett, a performance that would eventually earn Hackman another Academy Award. Their on-screen chemistry proved extraordinary. Their characters stood on opposite sides of justice, creating electric dramatic tension. Watching them perform together felt like witnessing two powerful forces colliding. Behind the camera, however, things were more complicated. Eastwood preferred simplicity, efficiency, and allowing emotions to emerge naturally. Hackman immersed himself deeply in every character, constantly questioning motivations and searching for greater psychological complexity. These differences occasionally produced disagreements. Eastwood valued concise direction and economical filmmaking. Hackman preferred exploring possibilities, often pushing scenes further than originally planned. During filming, Hackman later acknowledged that he didn't always agree with Eastwood's interpretation of certain scenes, particularly regarding character motivations. Eastwood focused on realism and restraint, while Hackman constantly searched for deeper emotional layers. Despite these creative disagreements, neither man questioned the other's professionalism. Both had earned enormous respect throughout Hollywood. Eastwood had become one of the industry's leading actor-directors, while Hackman had established himself as one of cinema's finest dramatic performers. Still, subtle tensions occasionally surfaced. Hackman's passionate, emotionally expansive approach sometimes conflicted with Eastwood's preference for precision and control. Eastwood carefully protected his directorial vision, while Hackman valued creative flexibility. One often repeated story from The Unforgiven set illustrates this contrast. During an emotionally important scene, Hackman reportedly began improvising portions of his dialogue, believing the changes added complexity to the character. Eastwood immediately stopped filming and calmly insisted that the dialogue remain faithful to the script. Hackman, accustomed to greater improvisational freedom, reportedly found the restriction frustrating. The disagreement reflected far more than a single acting decision. It symbolized two fundamentally different artistic philosophies. Eastwood believed in discipline, simplicity, and executing a clear vision. Hackman embraced experimentation, emotional exploration, and discovering new possibilities within each performance. Although only a few years separated them in age, they occupied different stages of their careers. Eastwood had already become an accomplished director, while Hackman remained primarily devoted to refining his acting craft. Eastwood naturally assumed leadership on set. Hackman instinctively challenged ideas and pushed creative boundaries. These contrasting philosophies produced occasional friction, even as mutual respect endured. With two legendary performers unwilling to compromise their artistic standards, some tension was perhaps inevitable. The years of silence and growing distance. As time passed, Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman gradually followed separate paths. Their once frequent collaborations faded into silence. Public appearances together became increasingly rare, while Hackman eventually withdrew from Hollywood altogether. Hackman's retirement surprised many admirers. After remarkable performances in The French Connection, The Conversation, Unforgiven, and numerous other classics, he quietly stepped away from acting during the early 2000s. Rather than staging a dramatic farewell, Hackman simply retreated from public life, choosing privacy over celebrity. Many fans wondered why. Some believed he had grown tired of Hollywood. Others suspected he no longer found satisfying roles. Whatever the reason, Hackman's quiet retirement left a noticeable void within the film industry. Meanwhile, Eastwood's career continued flourishing. He kept directing, producing, writing, and starring in acclaimed films including $1 Million Baby, Gran Torino, and American Sniper. His reputation expanded beyond acting into filmmaking excellence. As Hackman disappeared from public life, Eastwood became one of Hollywood's most respected elder statesmen. Yet Hackman's absence undoubtedly reminded Eastwood how quickly even legendary careers can fade from public attention. Their relationship also appeared to grow more distant. Rather than any dramatic falling out, their lives simply moved in different directions. Eastwood concentrated on directing. Hackman embraced retirement. Years passed with little public acknowledgement between them, leaving fans wondering whether the friendship still existed or whether old tensions remained unresolved. The big reveal. Later in life, Clint Eastwood began reflecting more openly on his past collaborations. During interviews, he acknowledged that despite their many differences, he had always respected Gene Hackman's extraordinary talent. Eastwood admitted their personalities often clashed, but he emphasized that those differences never diminished his admiration for Hackman's craft. He specifically praised Hackman's unforgettable portrayal of Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven, recognizing how deeply Hackman enriched the film. Looking back, Eastwood seemed to appreciate that Hackman had been far more than just another co-star. He also expressed regret. After their professional collaborations ended, Eastwood wished he had made a greater effort to stay in contact. The years of silence made him realize that although they respected each other professionally, they hadn't invested enough time building a lasting friendship away from movie sets. Eastwood reflected that perhaps things could have been different had they worked harder to maintain that connection. Hackman's retirement also prompted Eastwood